Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome episode. I've got Yaniv Tross, a co-founder and CEO of Ply. They've had a major launch in the United States several weeks ago. Super excited for their product. I'm actually been super excited to see their product demo probably 2 months ago, and I was super happy that that they launched and that and people are just going insane over their new product. Yaniv, thank you so much for being on the show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, there's so much we can talk about, but I do want to start off with with talking about yourself, right? So, you're an interesting person. On your LinkedIn profile, and I know this is an unusual way to start a podcast, but on your on your LinkedIn profile, there's a tagline where you say that you believe in humans and numbers, nothing else matters. Explain that for me, please.
I think, well, honestly, we work all day and everybody has all kinds of beliefs and everything. I just narrowed it down to the things that matter. The things that matters most to me is just people. That's in work and life and friendship and everything else. And I think that's also what creates everything else. So people are like about mainly about technology. It's like, oh, they've built that thing. Yeah, they is the main thing, not the
Hmm.
thing they've built. And numbers is just my way to, I'm a numbers guy. So I analyze everything. I don't understand answers, or I do understand answers, but it's always easier for me to just see numbers. They talk in a way. So I think that that's kind of, it's this summary of how I see things. It's also a LinkedIn profile, so take it with a pinch of salt. Like, also, I'm great, right? Of course. No thought went into writing that. It was just, off the top of my mind. I'm like, that seems like a sentence.
That's so funny. So wait, there's a few things I wanna ask. Okay, so you said numbers kind of jump out and tell the story. How does that translate into like what you guys are doing in terms of like you manage your team. You guys, are a pretty grown team. How many people are you guys? 16? How much?
Well,
12 people. And you need to start kind of searching, what's been done in marketing, what's been done in like, in the on the product side. Do you have like a dashboard or some sort of way to kind of get the numbers to you, a spreadsheet? Like how does it work?
a lot of dashboards.
A lot of
Um,
dashboards.
I think one of the challenges is having too many metrics.
Mm.
So we do, we measure a lot of things, but on a typical, I guess, month, sometimes even week, we just try to focus on a specific metric. So, for example, our main metric for a really long time was we wanted to get self-service, right? To get self-service right. Self-service is not a thing you can, it's not a thing, right? You need a metric. So, and there's a lot of metrics you can have. But then we just chose one, and that was how many people from the people who sign up, how many people understand what we want from them, understand what the product does, have an idea, can build it, publish it, and use it, right?
Hmm.
So that's like one way to just one metric. It's a percent. So that was the goal. And then if you can't, if it's too vague, then you kind of drill down. Like we call it. I think we didn't invent this, but think Facebook made this popular, but a KPI hierarchy. So this KPI, if you okay, so every team can work on a part of that. So it's like a funnel if you think about it, right?
Is
In this
it
case,
are you referring to OKRs maybe? OKRs? Yeah.
in a way, you can define that, but
Okay.
we try to keep it simple. We don't have these. We're a startup, right? So we don't have these really. Oh, on
Uh,
Q4 next year, we'll do this. No, nobody understands the product. Let's make them understand it. This is the only thing we do until we solve this. Great, solved it. What's the next thing? Oh, we need more people to share. Good, let's do that. And eventually, every company at some point in its life, I guess a little later than where we are, because right now the product's free. The easiest KPI everybody understands is dollars, right? And you can say, okay, so dollars come from amount of organizations, amount of engagement, amount of users, amount of value they get. How do you measure that value? You can measure things in different ways. It translates into numbers. It's just easier to say, are we doing better or worse? Humans can't be. That's why it's kind of a different thing, right? So I don't love the review process in companies. I do it, right? But I don't love it. Oh, you are 8 in friendship. You are 9 in loyalty. Now, I understand why you need numbers. I love them, but humans are the only thing that's kind of harder to measure that way, I think.
Interesting. So, you have a pretty diverse background, to say the least. So, okay, I personally know you, so I know you've been, you had Trust, your last name. It was a marketing company, and you were also a comedian in a pretty popular comedian group that was even on TV.
I was even on TV. Yeah, I usually say that I have no background. But when people ask, "What's your background?" They usually mean, "Were you the senior vice president at?" So usually my answer is that I have no background. I thought I wanted to be a comedian. I did that for like 2 years, maybe almost 3. And I'm not very good. Like, to be completely honest, like, it takes a while to understand that, and it's not an easy thing. But you kind of, when you do sketches, and in all the sketches you're the straight man, you kind of realize, wait a minute, like, nobody laughs at my jokes. Like, I'm just helping others. And
You're a prop.
Like,
you're like
I'm
a prop.
I'm like, I'm that. So you're like, I'm funny with friends, right? But I'm not a comedian, right? It takes a moment. Luckily, I have other interests, right? But it's been an amazing experience, and I think one of the most teaching and also frightening things is to tell jokes in front of a live audience. Until you've felt what it is to tell a joke and hear nothing from 100 people in a room where everybody's looking at you, and you hear them thinking, that didn't work for him. That's so sad. Like, until you feel that, it's an experience. You take it.
Wait, is it like there's crickets in the audience? Like,
it's worse. It's worse because it's not like you're just saying stuff and they might laugh or might not. It's a dance monkey dance kind of situation, right? You're in front of everyone, and everybody knows they came here to say, make me laugh right now. And then, like, you make them laugh once and twice, and then if you have a series of jokes that don't work, it's even hard to pick up later. It's like momentum, right?
yeah.
So, and you have to stay there. You can't just go, this isn't working for me, I'm sorry, I'm leaving after 3 minutes. So that's the strongest feedback anyone can get about anything, at least in my mind. It's not like metrics. It's a metric. It's in your face and very loud, the quiet when it is quiet.
Yaniv, I disagree with you. You are a funny person, and I've I've known that you're a funny person even before I knew you were a comedian. I since our first meeting, I felt like you have a good vibe and you're a funny person, and that's the truth. So you give yourself a small clap.
So thank you. I said I'm funny with friends.
Funny with friends.
I think you need to know what's your profession and what is your character. They're not always the exact same thing.
It reminds me of Sparta. What is your profession? You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, that, for people who don't know, that's from the movie 300. I'm not going to get into this.
This is
yeah, comedian, and then marketer.
Yes.
Explain. Give me a snippet of what you guys did in Trust, because it's actually pretty interesting to what we're going to talk about next.
Sure. So I started the company. I left university, started the company. For a few months there, we did advertising for nightclubs and some restaurants. And we did some of Israel's biggest brands like telecom companies and banks. But mostly what we did was startups. So in the first few years of the company, we were the marketing agency for startups, for Israeli startups. So we worked with a lot of B2B and SaaS and mostly security companies. from branding to product marketing to the content around the product, later user experience design and stuff like that. And then in the last, I guess, 3 or 4 years of the company, it was all about crowdfunding, like reward-based crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. It's basically e-commerce or the launch of B2C hardware brands, consumer brands. And we helped startups. They usually would come in with a prototype, and we would take them from there and until there's money in the bank. In a lot of the cases, we also were the investor. So we took the risk of going, taking someone that has just a prototype and didn't raise any money, and kind of bridge the gap in the market where it's very hard to raise money for anything B2C, definitely hardware, until you have sales, but it's almost impossible to get sales if you don't have at least a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we kind of bridge that gap. And it was, successful. It was great. It was also really fun. There's nothing like launching is this amazing thing that you get to do only once in a while when you work in a company. And we got to do that, twice a month, sometimes 4 times a month, to just see the reality, embrace or not, or don't embrace this new product. So it was wild.
Okay, I have tons of interesting questions here. And bear with me because some of them might be a little bit too pushy, but it's just because I'm super curious. Isn't like taking, and I know my audience will be curious about this as well. So isn't it, it's like you're taking on yourself a lot if you're investing in those companies, especially if they're, B2C hardware, which is like, the chances of something coming out of this product is like what, 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10? Like how did it, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a valid question, and it's not just valid. It might be a little bit misleading to say investing in this world. So it's not equity investing.
Okay.
What we came up with was a model that would work, because obviously it worked. Eventually, the model was kind of borrowed from a different space. We found it in some cases a little bit in real estate, in some cases a little bit in kind of advertising world. Essentially, what we did was we funded the go-to-market, the marketing, sometimes a little bit more of the prototyping and kind of hardware stuff. And the way we got paid back isn't with equity in the long term, because you need to have very deep pockets for that. We didn't have those, right? It was a profit share investment. So say you have a product X and it costs you $25 to produce and in this amount, or $23 if you have 10,000 units or whatever, and it costs you $7 to ship it. Okay, we know what the costs are. Great. We did all of the market analysis and pricing analysis, and we did the pricing with them, and like from nothing to an actual company with pricing and a name and packaging of how to increase average basket size and everything. And the margins that stay after you manufacture and ship and advertise, which is a lot of what you pay for when you buy something off Shopify or Kickstarter, there's a profit. If there was a profit, we shared it with them. If there wasn't one, we lost the money, not them. So we took the risk that this will not be a profitable campaign. And if it wasn't, we lost money. And if it was, that's the ones that were successful essentially paid for the ones that weren't.
It's essentially very similar to like venture capital.
I think in venture capital, the numbers are different, and it's also way harder to predict. In venture capital, you need, at least one home run and
exactly
to, whatever, depending on your model, 3x, 5x, 10x, whatever your model is. And the rest would, won't succeed. But it's very, very hard to determine. It's more gut feeling, especially if it's, seed level and A companies. There are metrics, but you really need to understand who the people are and what is the mission, and can they endure through, used to be 7 years, now on average, I think 10 years to liquidation. With this, it's a bit different. We could test whether people want it or not. We would A/B test before we would make the investment. We would invest, a little sum like $5,000 or 10, and see what the results are, and test different pricing points and test different messages, and already have some data. And we also had a huge database of these tests and what happened in the end. So we could, in a fairly good way, predict what will be the outcome. And then also we did the marketing hands-on, right? The company. I knew we had the best marketers. So if it's possible, it wasn't like give them the money and wait. It was, can we do it with our own money, right? And we were wrong a lot of the times, right? Sometimes it wasn't successful, but it's not 1 of 10 that pays for everything. It's more like, I guess, 1 would completely fail, 1 would lose a little money, 1 would make a little money, and then 1 out of 4 would be a home run, which would make all of our profits for, I don't know, a quarter or whatever. But it's and you can also stop. You don't have to. We gave them $50,000, and then if they needed, we could put up to $500,000. But it's only, you can see results. It's performance advertising. You can see if you're making sales, you'd put in another $100,000. So it's a bit of a different model, but it worked, and it made companies that otherwise wouldn't have been, which is, amazing. Otherwise, they couldn't have raised money. They wouldn't have had a product. And with the help of our team, it was, companies were born that way, which is amazing.
Amazing. That's amazing. So so it's not like a VC model, but it is similar to a hedge fund model, because, think about hedge funds where they invest in the public markets. They can see results faster. They can see, they can kind of allocate their money differently from like a month to month basis.
I can't say I understand the hedge fund model enough to say that it's like it. I think from what I've seen lately, I don't know enough about this to say, but I've seen so many models inside the hedge fund model that I don't know what it is. I'm sure there is a model. I'm not a pro, so I'm not going to try and say anything about it.
Awesome. So, okay, obviously in your time as a marketer, this taught you a lot, and now you launched Ply.
Yes.
And I want us to talk a little bit about the product, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about the product. But I want to kind of connect it to the marketing you did before that. So you guys built Ply. Explain a little bit about the product, and then I have a few questions.
Sure. So Ply at its essence is an internal feature builder. People are familiar with the concept of internal tooling. So custom software, internal tools, personalized apps. There's a lot of names for this. Essentially, we most of our day is spent in front of a computer, and when software is built for how you work, it makes organizations way more efficient. So we didn't invent this concept. There's this no code, low code movement, and it's not just that, right? It used to be very, very expensive to build software. You had to have like a 5,000 person, I don't know, support center in order to justify the budget to build custom software for it. And then it started with frameworks and cloud computing, and everything just got really cheap. And the last kind of move is the low code and the no code apps and tools out there. And all of them are towards that holy grail of create custom software. So also most of them would have some kind of mission to say democratize software creation, everybody can create, or things like that. And we agree. We just have a different approach on how we think, or another approach of how we think that can scale or go into organizations. So even in organizations that use a lot and build a lot of custom software, whether from scratch or based on these platforms, at the end of the day, most of people's time is spent on vendor apps. So you're in front of Gmail or Salesforce or Zendesk or Intercom or whatever it is. And to us, it makes more sense to customize those apps to make an impact. And I think, and we're already seeing this, it's not this one or the other, but it's different in a lot of ways, different use cases and different pros and cons. This is something now people can build with Ply. They can build features into Gmail, into Zendesk, into Hubspot. And these can be really simple features or extremely complex features with all of their business logic connected to all of their tools and their internal databases. And the benefits of that, one is that it's contextual, right? When you need to do something, you don't have to go anywhere and say, oh, I need to go to that tool to look for the customer to whatever, create a refund or give them a gift card or whatever it is. It's right here. Ply is contextual and it knows what you're looking at. So if you're looking at a deal or an email in Gmail or anything else, you can use that data in your feature when you run it. And the second advantage, which is kind of obvious to bigger teams, which are most of our customers, is adoption. So when a big company or even a medium company has a lot of internal tools, that's usually the case. And they just grow and grow and grow. And at some point, people just don't know what to use, or even if they do, they just don't use it. So instead of using that tool, they send an email or send a Slack message or whatever it is. And it's hard. And also new employees onboarding is very hard because you need to teach them all of these things. With Ply, it's like I'm in Gmail. There's a new button here. It comes with a little pop-up that says, this is what this button does. Not using it is pretty hard, right? It makes your life easier and it's in front of your face. So adoption is one of the key benefits when you use Ply because there's nothing new to learn. If you can click a button, you can use Ply, right? That's at least from the user's side. So that's what we do. We let operations or ops people, internal product managers, developers build features for their teams. Ply is focused on teams. So one person or sometimes 5 people build for 30, 50, 100, 200 people that use the product.
Mm-hmm. I have something that you might help me with. Sure. So, okay. So, we talked about this before privately, that I'm also a big fan of no code, low code tools, been playing in that space for a long time. And my team has been playing in that space for a long time. And we have someone on our team, I'm going to say his name, is probably going to listen to this episode. And every Thursday night, almost every Thursday night at 7 p.m., he sends a company-wide, we're a team of 6 people, but, a company-wide email to all the 6 people. And he says, guys, listen, I have this new no-code tool, new no-code app that is going to make our workflow massively more productive. We're going to finally feel like superheroes. And the minute I get that email and I look at that product and I go to that app's website, I'm like, fuck, this guy knows what he's doing. We're going to kick some fucking ass, right? We're going to be so highly productive now. And then we onboard this new tool. We train on this new tool. We, switch over from the previous tool that we used, or we use this tool we keep the CRM here, but we move the task management to here and the article queues for our clients and the pitching process to here. And then it becomes a mess because then, wait, but where did you send this? And what's going on? And then I tell myself, how we're in 2023, how isn't there, simple solutions for this in the no code space? Help me out, man. What's wrong with the industry?
Nothing's wrong with the industry. The thing that's wrong is, like always, humans. Yeah. We're wrong. Yeah, and I completely know this feeling. The thing is, and this is just me analyzing it. I'm not sure it's true about everyone, but at least the way I feel is, and I've been through this process multiple times, also in the previous company. There's always a mess. And I think one of my favorite pages on the internet, I don't remember the name of who wrote this, but if you Google it, you'll find it. It's not even a full-on blog post. It's like two paragraphs. The title says, "Every company is a shit show." And it's really good. I recommend reading this once a week. I read it again and again, and I send it to new people that come to the company. I'm not sure what his name is. I really want to remember. If you find it, just
Jared Hecht, maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's basically what it says is that.
Yes, it's that.
It feels
2 paragraphs. Yes.
Yeah. So it feels like someone has already got this figured out, right? But nobody has this figured out. Every company is a shit show from the inside. Everything is hard. It's not like, oh, this tool. And of course, marketing wise, you see a new productivity tool or a no-code tool or whatever, create your own tool. And you think, oh my God, this is the one to solve all of the problems that I have. Yeah. Now it's going to happen. This is the one. But the reality is that the humans who used the tools, don't use them as intended, or if it could only do that thing or be different. And at the end of the day, it's more about, well, one, managing it, right? It's people managing and tools management as well. And it's also about the actual tendencies of humans. So I'm not an organized person in any way. But my co-founder Zohar,
She is.
it does
I can
not
tell you guys, she is.
it does not matter what tool you use. It can be a a pen and paper, or a spreadsheet, or Notion, Monday, Asana, ClickUp, synced or unsynced combined, or whatever it is. She will always know the numbers, the goals, what is the focus, what is the next thing to do, what is the deadline for the next thing. Never will she miss a beat, and no one working under her will ever miss a beat. It's the person. And I've worked with all of these tools, and I never know what I need to. Every morning I have this routine where I just look at all my stuff and write a note of what I'm going to do today, like a simple note in Notepad, not nowhere, right? And that's the only way I can get it organized, because I need something simple and short, and I'm not going to filter it and auto prioritize. And I think it's a profession. Some people need, it's project management. I think some people are really good at it and some people are not. Like some people are good at strategy and some people are not, or marketing.
I want to push back. I want to push back.
Go for it.
I want to push back. I completely agree with most of the things you just said, but I do think there might be kind of like a productivity porn, or kind of like a technology kind of thing that might be a bit. Let me kind of put this into context. I'd say I'm a pretty organized person, and I can manage tasks in an efficient way. But the minute there's too many tools out there, then I start getting addicted to trying out the new tools. And when I saw Ply, when you showed me Ply, and when I saw the demos that you guys did, even by the way, on the old website, not even on the new website that you guys had. You guys had for the people who don't know, they had like a one-page website, which was basically just a demo video before they launched. And I was like, wow, I don't need to leave Gmail. Wow. So, Google Spreadsheet is a beast.
I see what you're doing here. So I'll tell you what. I think Ply is a super, super powerful solution for a lot of use cases. And a lot of things that couldn't have been done until now can be done with Ply. You can have less apps, or move between less, contexts, or have business logic that you would usually use a person for, or even embed AI within Ply, within your tools with your own logic. You can do all of those things, and we've seen teams using Ply having a huge improvement. We hope to measure this soon in performance and in efficiency. With that, I'm still going to say that, and I can also prove it. I'm still going to say that if you build it in a way that makes sense and use it, it makes it easier, right? It makes it easier to use whatever you're in front of. But still, if you would build, if you go into Gmail now and add 50 features, which some users do, by the way, 50 features, they're never going to use them. It's the same way. You need to find where the value is and build something that is simple enough that could be really powerful from the inside, but to the end user, it needs to be simple enough to be a no-brainer to do. Anything that's over a no-brainer, you might do it, but you might not. And the proof is kind of when people build for themselves, they tend to make a lot of assumptions about how they're going to use the tool, how they're going to build for themselves. And it's actually weird because people who build for themselves build very complex things and end up using them in a way lower percentage than if someone built for someone else. When someone builds for
Huh.
someone else, they understand it needs to be very clear, very easy. It's doing UX for someone else. It needs to just work, it needs to take care of most of the edge cases. It needs to be a complete solution. And those solutions, and we also see it visually, are great. They get adopted immediately. They're used daily from day one. And kind of that's what the Ply effect is for us. So that's kind of our secret sauce, if you will. The minute someone builds a feature and shares it with their team, that's it. No one leaves because they immediately go and build the next feature and the next. Because once it is more effort to build for someone else than it is for yourself. It's more thinking, more time. Building for yourself is 10 minutes in Ply. Building for someone else is 3 hours. Yet that kind of thing makes it so that it's simple enough that you would use it. So you can't do productivity porn for someone else. I imagine everybody doing, no, you need to imagine real people of all kinds going into Gmail in the morning, like, oh, another day, whatever it is I'm doing. Oh, I need to do that. Okay, I'll just click this. I'll answer this question, use AI, drop down, whatever. Next, I'm into my next email, or someone called me, I'll go back, I'll still understand what it is. No crazy mechanisms in front of the user. In the background, do your magic. That's what software is. But in the front, all of these mega tools, I think they're amazing if everybody uses them and knows how to. So that's kind of my take on, I think things should be powerful in the background and simple in front of the user.
Love it. That's a very strong quote, by the way. You should maybe think about putting it in your LinkedIn profile, my man.
Oh, yes. Another sentence. Yes.
You know, when I first saw Apply, so I basically came out and I thought, and I think I told you this, I thought, wow, there's so many cool things I can do with this. I'm gonna start connecting this to the calendar. I'm gonna do Google Calendar. I'm gonna use this, put my tasks on the spreadsheet, and then you quickly told me some. I don't remember how you. I don't remember the exact words you used, but you basically told me something like, hey, relax. The point here is to like, this is an enterprise product. Like this is a team's product. This is like a one person edit building and hundreds of people using. And this got me thinking that building Ply for yourself is like being like a writer, like being an author. But the real usage of Ply is to be an editor, because you need to actually subtract a lot of the unnecessary elements.
In a lot of ways, yes. I think, listen, a lot of people build for themselves with Ply and use it daily. And I'm not sure what it's going to be priced at, but we have the goal of keeping this either very affordable or completely free for casual users, because we want people to build. They help us understand what's wrong, and they're amazing users. The core value is, or the way we build the product is for teams, and also a lot of, I think it's easier to get value from Ply with teams. And also a lot of the problems that we solve and invest a lot of energy in solving, you don't even care about. So a lot of what happens in the background in Ply has to do with permission management and token management and granular, like per step token usage and things that in enterprises, it's not easy to build something for a lot of people in an environment where you have very sensitive data, multiple applications, which every user has different access to different things. Some things they don't have access to, but you need to get data from them. Some they do have access to. You want to use their access. So it's a very complex problem. And having that easy to build, that you can do everything, right? If you can code, you can do everything. But making that easy enough that you can invest, a couple of hours and build a new feature, and your third feature will probably take you 30 minutes. That's kind of where the real value of Ply is, because if you build one feature and it's powerful enough to do whatever you need it to do, and you share it with 50 people, it's whatever you would do for yourself times 50. So if you save yourself, half a day a week, that is amazing. If you save half a day
because it compounds
for 50 people,
because it compounds.
It compounds.
Yeah.
Yes, it's just way harder. By the way, we built Ply originally for a single user, and a lot of the work went into making it work for teams. The same product built for a single user or built for actual enterprise is different, and you have to choose at some point who you're after. And we're definitely, it's easy enough that anybody can build, but it's also easy, and I think that's kind of the thing we were after and still are. And there's a lot of work to make this really shine, right? We're just getting started. But the thing we're after is making it easy for enterprise, because usually it's like easy for users or enterprise grade and extremely difficult. The magic is like a almost B2C product or B2 SMB product feel, but with enterprise capabilities. And that's what we went after, and still have a long way to get there, but I think we're making progress.
Mm-hmm. So, are you allowed to say some of the companies that are clients currently, or
I'm not
can,
sure.
you
No,
can you can do it the politically correct way, which you can basically say, you know, the this is the size of the companies. This is kind of like the, you know what I
so
mean?
we work with quite a few companies in the e-commerce space, fairly large, with teams of 50 to 100 on Ply. The companies are bigger than that, and hopefully soon enough. There's still some work to be done until we're in talks with quite a few very large enterprises with 5 or 10,000 people. We're not going to work with all of them on day one, right? We're taking a team and we're helping them build with Ply. But again, that's our focus. So there's a lot to make it even easier for them to deploy at scale, to manage, to monitor. So I guess currently most of our customers are small companies between 50 and 500 people. And now we're kind of working our way with a product and with everything around it with a lot of customers that are not yet customers. They're like, not sure if they're not design partners. We're POCs or whatever you want to call it with larger enterprises.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. You guys have a really prominent investor in your board, Aleph.
Prominent. It took me a word to understand the word. Yeah, we have a very prominent, an awesome investor on our board. Yeah,
rockstar investors on the board, led by Michael Eisenberg,
led by Eden.
Oh, Eden Shochat is the...
Yes. That's
okay. Wait, so do you guys... Okay, I have a few questions. Wait, is Michael Eisenberg involved, or is it Eden Shochat the main guy? Or
Eden Shochat is on our board. That's how VCs work. There's one partner that you work with all the time, and the rest you talk to every now and then. They're part of the fund. I think Aleph are special. I don't have a lot of experience. I've never raised money before, but I've been around the startup world for a long while, and I know a lot of investors. And I think, other than Eden, which is amazing, and we get along amazingly, we've known each other for a long while. Aleph, the main thing I can say, which kind of will convey the experience, is that it feels like they're working for us, for real, right? It's like, we're not paying you, but everybody says they want to help their companies. It's a service. It is like, there are services that they give us which are sometimes push, sometimes pull, and are amazing. So I can't say enough good things about them.
Yes, we have a lot of clients that Aleph invested in, which is kind of a coincidence. Daily Dev, The Gist, we have a few others. And they told me, like, I don't remember who. Oh, I remember who told me that. I think it was the CEO of The Gist. He told me Eden Shochat is like a machine. He told me he's always on inbox 0.
He is.
How?
He is. He is. You talked earlier. We talked about people who are productive. He is likely the most productive person I know, and he is like we have jokes about him. With the AI now almost getting to like wanting to get to Eden level. That's like he's a very, very. I think he's the biggest productivity buff that I've met, but he doesn't just talk the talk, right? He walks the walk. He is productive. He follows all of the rules or systems that he tries to put in place. It's not a mess of ideas. So yeah, and I think from that point we kind of connected. We connected way before that, but we connected about Ply because he is a super power user of productivity. So he understands both the problems and the solutions in a great way. And in that way, he's been an awesome partner.
Do you have any specific insights maybe that you've learned from him about productivity? Like something that you saw him do that you're like, oh, that's cool. I can take it and put it.
I would love to take 10% of what he does. No, I don't think there's anything in particular. Most of what I learned from him is, talk about business, not about productivity, because
because it's not productive to talk about productivity.
No, it actually is. I think what is it? An hour spent optimizing time is time well spent. Not sure.
Interesting.
Probably heard it from him or from his area. I learn a lot from him all the time, just because he's a very, very smart guy.
Mm-hmm. How does your day look like? Because for someone who's listening to this podcast, they would think you're like this neurotic. No offense.
I like presenting myself that way. Yeah.
this neurotic CEO, right? You said you need like a fucking notepad to just kind of focus you, right? Is it like super wild? Is it just like all over the place? Is it like you see in the movies, or you know what you see like? Did you see the WeWork TV show?
Which one?
The one about WeWork with Jared Leto.
Yeah.
So you see like Adam Neumann, like, running around, doing like.
Yeah, my life doesn't look like that. Not at all. Listen, I think the magic of being productive, at least for me, is knowing how I can be productive. I'm not really that neurotic. I'm not sure how to say that. I'm not organized, right? I would not take on the responsibility to organize all of the tasks for a company, and some CEOs would do. What my role is to do my job the best way I can, and to find the people who can do, which is mostly finding the people who can do their job. So usually around me are people who are, it's not a coincidence that Zora is my co-founder. So she is a very organized, just have to say very organized person. And I think it's part of knowing how to organize, or what you can and cannot do. So for example, some people would take, I don't know, a marketer as a co-founder because they're very good at tech. But everybody try to build a team that complements whatever they can do. I can manage my own stuff pretty well. I think I ended up, after years of doing this, I ended up with my system, which is very, very simple. I tried all of these things. I try to, automate whatever I can, set it and forget it, build the things that I need, but not overdo it. I don't have 5,000 lists of tasks. I have just the one. I don't have multiple properties to prioritize by, like priority and that and this kind of priority and impact and whatever it is. I have just priority. And I don't use like all of these very complex systems. I just have a simple system because it's easier to focus. And at the beginning of the day, I'll go through my email, my calendar, my task list. This is what needs to be achieved today. But I will also, by the way, talk to the people in the company and ask, is there something urgent that I need to do today? Because one, you think I should, it will get someone else's work, stuck or whatever it is. And that way, that's what I know I need to do right now. And I don't think about all the rest. There's a huge backlog I will never see. And it's fine. It's completely fine. I don't need to manage it. At least, I don't know if I don't need to. I cannot. Some people can. Some people remember everything and know everything and have everything categorized, and they might be prioritizing better than me. But I think, you need to find a way to do your job, and doing my job this way works, fairly well.
Amazing. Did you read the One Thing, the book, The One Thing? No. So it's basically it's a productivity system that you need to focus on one thing. Like, forget all the hacks, forget all the thing. And what you said is just the demonstration of that. Like, literally the demonstration of that.
Yeah. And I think, by the way, that it's very helpful to have very, amazing focus. And then sometimes even schedule time, and I do that sometimes, to be, not focused on the most important thing. And I don't know all these hacks into focus mode, not focus mode. I don't fully understand it. I'm sure it's effective. I don't do that. I just make sure that I have at least once or twice a week a few hours of, it's almost doing whatever I want. It's not really, but I look at the task list and see something I can get inspired by or have an idea about and just go for it, because sometimes I really like working at night and I would write a blog post. It's not really if I had it on my to-do, probably wouldn't be the top one or whatever it is. So I try to have that time as well.
Listen, man, you're a super intelligent person. And I told you this, and you don't have to be humble about it, man. You're intelligent. You're an intelligent person. You have a lot of experience within the marketing space, which marketing space is not easy. And people who kind of survive that, are intelligent people, and talented people. And also what you're doing, and from the conversations we had, is there any specific book or any specific philosophy that kind of guides you or kind of makes you kind of, centers you or stuff like that? Because you talk from a place of intelligence, and it's not that easy. A lot of people in this really high pressure environment are really anxious. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of things that are going on. Is there anything that might help other people who are listening?
One, thank you. And I don't know if it would help other people. I can say what I do. I think everybody builds their own stuff. To me, I guess I'm naturally pretty calm, even at the face of the biggest shitstorm. I can still make decisions, be calm about it. Hard to insult me, I don't. So I think, and it's kind of a muscle. So in the early years of the previous company, I used to cry at night because I lost so much money that I almost went bankrupt. But after you go through that for a while, you're like, okay, everything's fine. I'll be fine. And I focus most of the energy that I have on just, I guess, people. I think the main goal we had in the previous company and this one as well is to build a place that's fun to go to in the morning, or in Zoom, whatever. And everything else is goals that I'm trying to achieve. That's my task list. But as long as I have fun with the people I'm working with, and I think they're great people, and I try to bring in, the smartest. Everyone here is smarter than me, so I'm a glorified nanny, right? That's my real job. I need to find the best people and make them as happy as humanly possible. And I love this, right? It's amazing. And it's very satisfying. And then the rest are tasks. So marketing is a task, and analyzing data is a task, and doing product is a task, and talking to investors is sometimes a task, and sometimes it's fun because they're nice people. But mostly I find that my hobby or the thing I love doing is just talking to people, and I get to do that, and I just try to focus on that, and the rest try to do my best, and I don't stress. I try not to. The only thing that can get me out of my comfort zone is people, not results or whatever. If someone that close to me did something, that's the only thing that can really make me, I guess, squinch. I don't know how to say that. Not calm.
Like, you can say anxious or
English, not mother tongue.
Yeah. Anxious. Funny story for the listeners. Yaniv grew up in the same city. Well, he grew up there. You were how many years in Sunnyvale?
Oh, a year. Just
so
year.
he was 1 year in Sunnyvale. As you guys know, I'm from the people who know, I grew up in Sunnyvale, and he was in the same school that I was in elementary school, which is funny.
South Peninsula Hebrew Day School. Did we talk about it?
We talked about it. Yes.
South Peninsula Hebrew Day School. Woo, third grade.
I was there for first and second, and then they took me to public school.
Oh, really? I don't remember much. I just remember not knowing English and then knowing English. And I think most of it was learned by watching Saved by the Bell without subtitles. That's most of my English is from Zach Morse.
Yeah,
that's the time I grew up in.
That's a great TV show. I remember watching that as well.
Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Yaniv, thank you so much for taking the time to do this fascinating conversation. Really love what you guys are doing. If people want to check you guys out, they can look for you guys on LinkedIn and on the website, obviously, ply.io. Is that correct?
True. That's correct.
Ply.io. And anything else people should know?
No, I think that's awesome. Reach out if you have ideas, if you want to chat. Our goal right now is just to talk to as many people as possible. So talk to us.
Awesome. Awesome, brother. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks a lot, man. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.